we've been asked by one of our users in Holland if we've had any experience with the use of gCADPlus on Linux computers. So we've been experimenting with the Linux version called Ubuntu, and we've managed to get it running on quite a cheap second-hand computer system, and it runs very, very well. This is a drawing that she has been working on, and I asked if you could send it across and we'll do some work on gCADPlus using the Linux machine. We're relatively confident because you may recall from other videos that we've used a Mac to run gCADPlus successfully, and the Mac installs and runs under what's called the Wine operating system, which is a way of getting Linux machines to mimic Windows. So what I did was take this drawing and started to work on it quite hard in the Linux environment to see whether we could trip gCADPlus up. And the results are pretty interesting. It's been rock solid. In fact, we started doing what I thought might have been some fairly tricky maneuvers, and if we look at the layers, we created a layer called dim, and I'll turn it on now, and here are the dimensions that we were able to apply, and you can see they look pretty good. There's a 600 wide fill in these little planter boxes, and 2100 for that distance, 1932 for a block that has the sliding door in it, and so on. There is a series of informal paving bricks along here. I think this is an error, not put in by the Linux machine, but I just think an error. And we were able to just select here and do things like move the control points around to get some nicer, more organic shapes. And I'll just escape from there. So I'd be inclined to go along here and take out this sort of thing, which is really quite ugly. And so we can just dynamically change these informal steppers that run through here. The other thing that I noticed, so we gave some good hard task for putting in dimensions. We changed dimension style and so on. I think if we click on one of these now, you'll notice that it's a style called 1 to 100 scale. So everything is appropriate for printing this design on A3 at 1 to 100. We'll just go to a layout space and you can see some parts of it now. And let's come back here. The next thing I wanted to try was to see whether we could apply the fills and interesting approaches to things like a pool. So this shape is being created as two just looking for the property. I think they're arcs. Yeah, that one's an arc and the other one was an arc, but I couldn't join them. Again, not a problem of the Linux machine. So what I did is just copy it. And actually I did that by coming across here and set OSNAP on nearest, so I was able to trace around this shape very easily. And then I was pleased that we could do a point gradient with a couple of different start and end colors, and this is looking very much like a pool. So I think what we might do is just move it, and we'll put it roughly in position, and we'll get rid of the other two. So this is going to, there's another arc that was hiding there. So we have the buildings on their own layer in magenta. Let me click again on it. There's a new layer I created called buildings, and it's colored magenta. So I did a lot of, not a lot of drawing, but a lot of manipulating to try and tidy this up so that in future we can work on it more easily. So everything that I've been creating and working with all starts with L-, which is an international convention, and I'm not fluent in Dutch, so we'll have to leave some of these for later. I notice non-plottable _0, that probably came from a web or a transfer, not necessarily web, but other information. And if I zoom extents, that probably came from, this is a site plan for some, maybe the site we're working on has been taken from one of these lot numbers and lot elements. Whenever you take information like that, you do run into some level of difficulty. So it's in model space now. We see this zone here that we've been looking and working on. So my first report is with about an hour and a half to 2 hours of solid work with gCADPlus on Wine and Linux machine. The distribution of Linux we used was Ubuntu 24, and I'm pretty optimistic that if you want to use an old second-hand computer and put Linux on it, you'll be able to run very nicely. So I hope that helps.